first and foremost, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I want to take you way back. The Trevor Nelson competition.
Yeah.
He was running a competition. He was basically looking for the next big superstar.
Yeah.
Obviously you.
Basically, my only access into the music that I loved and really felt connected to was every Thursday night Trevor Nelson had Rhythm Nation. Yeah. So I'd always stay up, even though it was a school night, I'd stay up, and I was just, that's where I learned about Lauryn Hill, Jill Scott, D'Angelo, because up in Scotland, there weren't many people that loved that type of music, so I kind of felt like on my own there. So every Thursday night, and then he said, okay, we got a competition, are you a singer? I was like, I am a singer. So I got Lucy, my sister, to record me playing this song called Nasty Little Lady.
Hi, my name's Emeli Sandé. I'm 16 years old, and this is my song I'm gonna play on the piano. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. If you don't like me, then why the hell you standing there and smiling at me? Sometimes I wish I didn't have to hear all of the lies you whisper in my ear. Am I going crazy, or are you just a little nasty lady?
We did a few takes and we just sent the video down and then got the call that I'd been chosen for one of the 10 finalists.
Wow.
That was, my first time really getting to know London. Even coming down to London was just, I was 16. My mind was like, it was the first time I got to play with a band. They arranged my song,
wow.
Had backing singers.
Wow.
It was just like, this is what I want. Whether or not I win in this competition or not, this is what I want to do.
But then kind of a little bit of a period where you went back up to Scotland.
Yeah. So after the Trevor Nelson competition, everything settled down a bit. So I was like, okay, does this mean, what do I do? Do I keep pursuing this dream? But at that point, I'd gotten into medical school. So I was like, okay, let me just start med school and just keep learning. But my mum, the day she dropped me off at med school, and she said, never forget you're a musician. Like, this is great. We love you doing medicine. Like, thumbs up for me and Dad. But, don't forget you're a musician. And my mum just kept my dream alive for me. And my dad, but my mum was really proactive with it. Yeah. She would go back and all the piano pieces I'd done at the showcases had been recorded. So she's like, I sent it to One Extra. I hope you don't mind. I sent it to Raz Kwame. I was like, how did you even know how to do that? But it was amazing. She just kept sending my music. So she was pretty much my manager at that point. And then Raz Kwame was like, yeah, we're going to play it on the radio.
I remember looking up your MySpace at that point. MySpace.com/listen to Adele.
I forgot what it was called. Yeah, I'd made that. I think Baby's Eyes was on there.
Yes.
Booty Call, maybe.
Yep.
And that was the first time I'd really started using the internet properly as, this might be good for sharing your music. That's how I met Naughty Boy.
So how did the link up happen with Naughty Boy? Was it a case of him seeing you at the showcase and then checking out your MySpace, or was it?
It just felt like complete destiny, to be honest. I was working with G-Child, actually, and he said, there's this One Extra gig. Do you want to come over and do it? So I was like, yeah, wicked. It was a real, hyper night, like Chipmunk was. Everyone else was a rapper. There's maybe one or two other singers, but I got up and sang a cappella a Nina Simone song, and I sang Baby's Eyes on the piano. And I was like, oh God, no one's listening. This is too quiet for everyone. I felt a bit defeated, but also proud of myself for getting up there and just sticking to what I do. Then Shah just comes over with this drink, I can visualize him exactly as he is now. Yeah, do you want to come to the car? And I was like, for some reason, I just trusted his face. I was like, okay. So I was like, I got my sister to come, and he's like, listen to this song. I've just done this song with Bashi. Do you know him? It's Black Boys. So he played and he had it really loud.
Black boys, yeah, we're all black boys. Or one day we're gonna be black men. Or one day we might have black boys, and we gotta teach them to be black men.
And I was like, wow, how refreshing to meet someone who's genuinely passionate about music and creation and spreading the truth. He's like, I'd love you to come to the studio. And I think he was lying that he had a studio. It's like, yeah, I got the studio, we got a piano. I was like, oh, cool. Next thing you know, we're camping on the floor, and yeah, we just wrote. We had no record deal, publishing, nothing. We were just friends making music and so excited about it.
But 2009, I think, was the point where people heard your voice on a mass scale for the first time via Diamond Rings.
Right, yeah.
Talk to me about how that particular record came about.
So I've been in London and we've been camping out, and then Josh said, I have this beat. So I was like, yeah, I really like this. So then I took it back up. So I would only go down for weekends.
So you were basically commuting between Glasgow
Yeah.
and London.
So anyways, he sent the beat, and I went back up to Glasgow. And I'm not very tidy, so sometimes well, it's extremes. It's either like really messy or completely immaculate. So I was going through my stage of tidying up, trying to get it back together, and I was hoovering up and then playing this beat, and then that's when it came up. It was like, I've been talking about my new diamond ring.
Because my new diamond rings are better. You've been talking about my new diamond rings. Because my new diamond rings, that was it.
And then that came and rang up Shah, sang it down the phone to him. He's like, yeah, next time you come down, we're going to record that. That's amazing. Went down, recorded it, and then went back up to Glasgow. And then he said, Chipmunk's just been on the phone. Like, everything was just so exciting.
Hitting you Bond Street, West End. Shine like I'm a girl's best friend. Girls see me and scream because I'm on the TV, but I still take walks in my end.
I remember the video coming out and you weren't credited as an artist. At One Extra, we knew you, but you weren't in the video.
Yeah.
They got someone to mic. Were you not available? Or did you not get the call?
I got the call. I had the treatment. I showed everybody on my floor in the library, I'm gonna wear this. It was exactly the same video they made, just without me. But it's like, you know, it's 1920s. I was just so excited, bags packed, and then I got a call from my manager just saying, they don't want you in the video.
You've been talking about my new diamond rings. Because my new diamond rings, that was it.
I didn't know what to learn from it, because they want your voice, they want your lyric, but they don't want you.
See in my wall.
Since I've spoken to Chipmunk, and I think he was just so young at the time, I don't think it was something he could have had control over. But then I was just so determined. I think you just have to keep that gratitude alive, because if I wasn't grateful for that experience, it could have just stopped my whole career. I think it's a lesson to learn as a woman. And I think that for girls watching that, I was determined to show no, like eventually I will be fronting my own music. I'll show you who made that.
Well, I guess what they say is true.
But then, the next thing that comes out, the name had changed to Emeli. Why the name change?
People kept confusing me with Adele, who'd come out with music, and my middle name is Emeli. I was Rio Sandé for like 2 weeks. There's a flyer of me like Rio Sandé tonight, Glasgow.
Every night I'm in the spotlight with another girl knowing that it's not right. Ain't gonna work, stop trying. Had enough this time, you're not lying.
So Never Be Your Woman, it originally was you and Naughty Boy, but then it came out as Naughty Boy Presents
Yeah.
Wiley featuring Emeli
Emeli
Sandé.
Sandé. Yeah.
So I was like, round of applause, she's getting
Yeah,
credit.
I'm in there.
I remember introducing it on the radio and saying that people need to tattoo your name on their eyelids because you are not going anywhere.
What they say is true. I could never be the right kind of girl for you. I could never be a woman. I could never be a woman. I could never be a
How was that kind of experience working with Wiley on that particular record?
Well, I didn't meet him at that point.
Nobody ever does.
Yeah, he's like Banksy.
He never turns up.
But he was cool. I spoke to him on the phone. I remember I tried to be cool. I texted him saying something like, yo, it's popping off in the like some things I would never say in my life. I was like, it's popping off in the clubs, you know? And he just like laughed back and he's like, oh, is it popping off? Like he just called me out and it straight away. He's like, okay, let me be real with this guy. So then when he rang me, the deal had just been done. He's like, all right, let's go shopping. I like this guy.
What they say is true. I could never be the right kind of girl.
And yeah, we did the video, and that was my first real experience with a record label and how it works and styling, all of that type of stuff. And again, I just remember just always being excited, even though, like, you know, with Diamond Rings, and I did learn that you have to be determined. You have to fight your corner. It's going to be harder than you thought. You can be as talented as you want, but people aren't just going to straight away respect you. You know, even if they should, they're not going to. So you have to keep, like, be consistent, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
This brings us nicely onto our version of events. You're signed now, it's an album deal, you've got to deliver the album.
Yeah.
How many records had you done before you were signed?
I'd written Clown, I'd written Maybe, Daddy. So a lot of the lyrical style was there. You know, they send new artists out and try all the different producers in the world. And I did the full circle and I just ended up in F Block again. I ended up with Sha, and it's the same thing, never try and force anything.
Will you recognize me in the flashing lights? I try to keep my heart beat, but I can't get it right.
Heaven was initially a conversation because we were speaking about the differences within religions, and we're like, well, we're definitely far from perfect, but we're saying as long as you try and keep a clean heart or have the intention of keeping a clean heart. So that was the opening line, trying to keep my heart clean. Who are you trying?
Oh, heaven, I wait with good intentions, but the day it always lasts too long. Then I'm gone. Oh, heaven, I wait with good intentions, but the day it always
14th of August 2011, Heaven was released. You then came in, did a live lounge.
Yes.
Was this past the point where you decided not to go back to med school? Or were there people at your med school watching you thinking, she's coming back next year, but she's on the live lounge right now?
Probably. I mean, I think at that point I still hadn't told them, but I think in my heart I knew. You know, the first song was called Heaven, and I just thought, no, this feels right. This is my destiny. And if medicine was my destiny, then, you know, seeing the passion others had with medicine, they've always wanted to be a doctor, the same way I'd always wanted to be a singer, then that would have been me. There would have been nothing that could have torn me away from medicine. But that's how it was music. Not even medicine could tear me away from music.
The album was so super successful. Nearly 114,000 copies sold in the first week alone. 2.5 million copies in the UK, 7 times platinum. You've got all of this success thrown at you.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to deal with that?
It's mad. It was like there's two parts of me. There was one, the shy girl that was like, oh wow, surprise. And this other part of me that had been this drive in me since I was really young, like there is a mission. And one day you will sing to a lot of people. I don't know how, even sitting there with my sister filming me, for my sister to say, yeah, you're right about that. It was like this split thing. One part of me is like, okay, you've got to step up now. You've got to learn how to do this. You've got to learn how to perform and how to run a band. And the other part of me was just in shock, like shell-shocked. It was like, we want to go inside.
I want to go back to med school.
Yeah,
Next to Me, how did that record come about?
well, I wrote that song with Craze and Hoax. We got one riff just going around, jin, 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 jin. And it was in their bedroom. We were just hanging out. He had a laptop up, not a lot, he had a computer. And we're professionally now.
Don't sugarcoat it.
We were on his bed, and then I just had this little sheet of paper just doing Next to Me. Weird things happen at F Block, like proper weird stuff. Shah said that one day he woke up and this piece of paper flew under his door, not like just from the wind, and it was the Next to Me lyrics that I had written with Craze and Hoax in their bedroom. And he's like, that has to be a single. We played a beautiful show in Dublin in a place called the Sugar Club, and this man came up to me and he told me just this real heartbreaking story of how he'd lost his son, but when he heard that song he felt like he was next to him. And stories like that just give me, you know, it's so much more than I could even imagine.
I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream till the words dry out. So put it in all of the papers. I'm not afraid, they can read all about it, read all about it. Oh.
Read all about it. I remember when Professor Green brought the record into me to play, we had a really, really deep conversation. He told me about what that record meant to him. What did it mean to you?
It was pretty literal to the words, really. Like, I want to sing, I want to shout, I want to scream. It was just about finally that release of, I don't care who hears. I'm not hiding myself anymore. I'm not censoring myself. I'm going to tell you how I feel. Because you can be as as smart as you want or as instinctive as you want, but if you don't have the guts to really just talk and stand up for something and believe in something, then what good is any of that?
27th of July 2012, Abide With Me happens.
Yes.
The Olympics opening ceremony. Take me back to that. What was going through your mind before you stepped out on that stage?
I've never been that nervous in my life, really. I mean, I'd rehearsed the song hundreds of times, and I remember the first day, well, Danny Boyle called us to the secret Olympic bunker I didn't know what the meeting was about. It was so top secret. And he showed us the model of the opening ceremony and what's going to happen. And they played us the soundtrack. You know, Heaven came on just before Dizzy Rascal came on. So I thought, okay, cool. They just want to see if they can use Heaven. So I was like, yeah, of course. And then Abide With Me played. I thought, one, it reminded me a lot of Next to Me, Abide With Me. It just felt like the same sentiment, but there's such a beautiful hymn. I was like, oh, I'd love it to sing that. And then he said, we'd like you to sing this song. But yeah, before going on stage, I blank. It was the first time my mind had gone completely blank, because you have to stand 20 minutes before those doors opened, because all I had was a drone just going brrrr for 3 minutes.
Wow.
To get the key, but that's it. Everything went, the lyrics, the melody, I couldn't remember anything. So I was like, I don't remember it. So I had to find a phone, YouTube, Abide With Me, just to remind, even though I'd sang it hundreds of times, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. That's when I learned you have to trust your subconscious, because if I'm in control right now, me, myself, I'm going to mess this up because I've lost it. I've gone somewhere else. So I was like, okay, let's just see what happens. And it all came back.
Have you ever watched it back?
No.
Why?
Just because even thinking about it, I'm getting a little bit I've got palpitations, so...
Okay, let's move on.
Emeli Sandé.
7 years after your first showcase in London for Trevor Nelson, you're performing at the White House for the Obamas.
Yes, and it was for Carole King. She was the first woman to win the Gershwin Prize for songwriting. So it just felt so apt that, because songwriting's such a, it's my first love, really. So it felt such an honor to perform there and get to sing Natural Woman by Aretha. Everything was like, yeah.
You make me feel. You make me feel. You make me feel like a natural woman.
I spent 3 days, 10 hours straight just at the piano trying to make sure there was no way it could go wrong. But the performance went well, and I got to speak to Carole King afterwards about songwriting and what she thinks of songwriters now. And she was just saying you have to keep the craft alive. You have to keep melody and lyric going. And to hear that encouragement from a hero of mine, yeah, it was a cool day.
What did Obama say to you?
He said, wow, my kids know about you. And I was like, oh. And I didn't know what to say. And they were so tall. So me and my manager's like, oh, thanks for having us. But he was great. He made everyone feel relaxed. He made everyone feel like, oh, you're in my house. And yeah, I can't believe that actually happened, thinking about it.
This next song is my new single. It's called My Kind of Love.
All of this success, basically, one thing after another.
One of my favorite songs to sing. And I wrote this song about when everything else has stopped and everyone else you thought you'd be there for you. That's when you feel my kind of love.
Because we live in this country, there is an inevitable press backlash. And it came quite hard. She turns up everywhere. Oh, she's bland, she's this, she's that, she's the other.
That's when you feel my kind of love.
I didn't really know how to take it. Was it the truth? Was there something where I did have to just kind of chill out and go away for a bit? Or, was this coming from a different place? It was hard to really interpret. And also it made me feel like, well, you can't win. From coming from nobody wanting me in the video for Chipmunk, for Diamond Rings, to then nobody wants me when I'm on TV. It's like, well, you can't actually win. And my focus really was at that point, well, who am I representing being on TV?
I can't buy your love. Don't even want to try. Sometimes the truth won't make you happy.
There may be certain people that don't want me around, they don't want to see me, da-di-da-da. And I'll take the criticism, I'll take whatever you want to say about me, but it was important that I was present for other people, for little girls that might be dreaming like I was. looking up and seeing me on TV could have been inspiring them in some other way that someone that, you know, a journalist wouldn't understand. So I really had to adapt an attitude of, well, I'm here for a reason and there's a message that I want to give out, and I don't want to oversaturate anybody with that message. But I guess it's just trying to find a balance, but also not letting that type of stuff get to you that much. And I was like, okay, cool. You don't want to hear it? Cool, let me just disappear.
And you did disappear.
Yeah. It really was, let me just go away and see if I want to come. It was, maybe I won't return, maybe I will. I had to learn how to be a person because I identified myself too much with making music and being a musician. I had to really learn how to be a person and an adult and be responsible for myself.
So you did what anybody else would do and take yourself as far away from it as possible. You took yourself to Zambia.
Yes.
Why Zambia? I know that's where your dad's from. Why at that point?
I didn't know who I was. Like, I'd grown up in Scotland as a black woman, and
with very few other black women around you.
Yes.
I can assume.
Yeah. None really.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my identity had always been through music, through Trevor Nelson and all of these, you know, everything I was hearing on the radio, but I had to know who I was. So I went to Zambia with my whole family, my sister, my mother, my dad, and we worked with Oxfam for a couple of weeks, just learning about, you know, domestic issues within Zambia and how women are treated and women having more freedom and everything my dad had taught me growing up, really in real life. Then after that, we drove like 2 hours into, I don't know where we went. I would never be able to get back to there, but that's where my grandmother's village is. And she's the chief of the village, and it was the first time I'd ever met her, my brother in Zambia, my cousins. It was, you know, it was life-changing. This big gaping hole that had been in me since a kid, not really understanding, why don't I fit in? Why isn't this? Why do I what are all these differences? Suddenly didn't matter, and it made sense, and I had a kinship, I had a tribe. I found my tribe, really. All the tension, everything we were going through at that time, it was just released.
Baby, I'm not made of stone. It hurts.
Now you're back in mode for album 2. When was your first session?
You know, I'm addicted to making music, so I'm always doing it, always kind of, it's like diary entries. So whatever's happening will become a song eventually. Sometimes the songs predict my future, which is a bit scary, because I'm like, oh, God. Okay. But yeah, one of the first songs I did with Shah, and that was 3 years ago. That's the oldest song on the album.
We've got the piano there. I want to hear Hurts.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, look, you know, it always fascinates me how songs start.
Yeah.
Was it a chord that you played first of all that kind of put it into your mind, or was it a thought or something that made you want to write this particular song?
It was kind of breaking that line between this control. Like, sometimes you let people win if you just pop off, if you lose control. But then other times you have to lose control to tell people exactly how you feel. This was one of the latest songs I had written, and it felt like after all this learning, after all of this kind of trying to break out of this conditioning, really, and suddenly I was like, you know what? It hurts. Just to say those words takes quite a lot of bravery, not to just keep taking it, just like, it hurts, and to just go off. Actually, I have the voice recording of how it initially just sparked.
Wow.
And it literally came out the whole line, baby, I'm not made of stone, it hurts. And yeah, it just...
Baby, I'm not made of stone. It hurts. Loving you the way I do. It hurts.
And even after speaking about what we're speaking about, it just makes so much... you want to love people and you want to give as much as you can, but you have to also love yourself. You know, I think that's the biggest lesson for me, learning how to love and respect myself first and foremost, and everything else, you know, your career, what you're doing, your work will fall into place after that. But without that, it's just destined to like implode in some way. So now with those kind of at my base, I feel like whether it be music or any other form of expression, I'll just be happy to get on with it.
Emeli Sandé, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I can't wait to hear more of this album.